Hello and welcome to your daily tarot reading. I'm Sean Wooden Hilton. This is Lines of Flight Tarot, and today is Thursday, June 2nd. And so I'm just going to shuffle these. And I'm going to start using different decks, but for a while I'll just be using this Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which I've had for a long time, since like 1996. As my first deck. So I'm just kind of getting the ball rolling on this channel with this deck, and then eventually I will shift to many others that I have. Okay, let's give it one more. Okay, so we have the Devil, the Eight of Wands, and the Ten of Wands, and then the bottom energy is Ace of Swords. So we have the Devil card. So the Devil shows up when there is some sort of restriction and also sort of dominance over a situation, or kind of blind dominance to a situation. It's when you are bonded to things. The way it shows up in my life a lot is when I am doing that to myself. So if I'm restricting myself, or if I am tethered to something and I'm doing something repetitive action, or some sort of repetitive energy into something, and it's causing me harm. And the Eight of Wands is movement. So the wands represent fire, which is passion, and sort of what Carl Jung would call the libido. It's the drive, it's what moves you through the world. And eight, the number 8 means movement. And what I always think about in this card is just the landscape in the back. And so whenever this card shows up, I think about movement, moving landscapes, perhaps the passion or your libido, whatever is moving, giving you impetus to move through the world, is quite strong, and is guiding you perhaps to move from location, or perhaps to look around more. So maybe looking up from the grindstone of the work that you're doing to observe the landscape around you, and how you can continue to move in the direction of your goals. And then that moves really nicely into the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords, so 10 is the last number before it moves into the character cards, or the court cards, starting with the Page. And so there's a sense of completion with 10, and in the Wands card, we can see that this person is harvesting these wands and is taking them back to their home or their village. And so there's a real sense of labor, physical labor, kind of physical duress to achieve this thing. And so it's not necessarily a negative card, but it is a card that comes along with kind of stipulations for this harvest to happen, for you to have your 10 wands of passion or libido or impetus. There has to be some sort of physical labor. So and with that in mind, and the bottom card, which we'll kind of talk about today as the overarching sort of atmosphere for it, is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is it's like the initial energy of the swords, which is thoughts and communication. And it's kind of the exalted atmosphere of what the swords is, and this can show up as either as a guiding principle or a wish or a gift from the universe that comes that does have to do with perhaps a new way of thinking or a new way of communicating, or perhaps just in this version it feels like that it's a boost, like a helping hand that's coming in. So with those that base information in mind, perhaps you're feeling stuck or bound to something that feels restrictive. And when this card comes up, I ask myself, is that something I'm doing to myself, or is that something that I'm allowing someone else to sort of enact on top of me? And perhaps the Eight of Wands is asking us to move away from that and kind of move towards this sense of labor as well. So there's still a sense of work, and when I think of work, I come from like a performing arts background. I was a professional dancer for many years and still work in the field of dance. So there's a sense of that this goal and this labor is still it includes some physical duress. It includes some physical work, which, we know includes fatigue and sort of sustenance and how do we maintain that activity. And so in a way, I can see these cards representing somewhat of a similar thing, except this perhaps is a more liberated way to go about it. That there is some sort of physical duress and activity, and we're still working in the fire modes, obviously because of the devil and this person's tail who is on fire here. And so I think that what's being asked of us today per this reading is to move away from any energy that feels restricting or makes it feel like we are bound to something, and instead free that up and view it or practice it as kind of the last, mile before the deadline in the marathon, that physical duress and that sort of labor that is happening is not manipulated or controlled by someone else, the devil, whether that's inside of you or in someone else or a situation, but that you are free and self-contained. His back is showing here, and everything he has, his harvest of wands here, is in front of him, close to his heart. So he is in this laborious action, but we get the sense that he's going to be able to put that down soon, that he's not bound to those things like these folks are bound to the devil, that it's his choice to work that hard, and that he can eventually put down those wands. So the fire is lit, the fire is warming up, but you can put it down. That you're eventually going to put that down. So today you might be pondering this or might be having activity around this, and just remember to kind of free yourself up, create some movement around your activities, and try not to get bound to them so much, even though there will be some physical duress, there will be some physical activity, or there will be something that includes the fatigue of the body or the conditioning of the body to fulfill this action. And so, with the Ace of Swords, we're just maybe being asked to look at that a different way. Look at look at laborious activity. Look at movement around your goals and your passions. To perhaps look at them as something that is necessary and is hard and is laborious, but you can put it down. You're not bound to it. You don't have to continue to participate in this sort of mental activity of being bound. So that's your reading for today. I'm just going to ignore that Three of Swords there. That is not part of our reading. And and I hope you have a fantastic day. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be back for more tomorrow. Goodbye.